All right, here we go. Hello, everybody. This is Joan Stewart, the Publicity Hound. Welcome to 7 Things Your 2017 Publicity Plan Must Include. Would you guys tell me if you see just one great big slide on the screen, or do you see the strip across the bottom as well? You should only be seeing one slide on the screen. Okay, one big slide. Thank you, Flora. Okay, we are going to dive right in. This is a webinar that I have done every year for the last couple of years, and things are changing so quickly online that I have a couple of the same things in here from the year before, but I have a couple of new ones that I put in here, mostly because I'm seeing a lot of people make a lot of the same mistakes. So let's dive in and talk about, first of all, why you need a plan and a strategy as you look at your campaign for next year, because this is the time when you should be promoting it. Without a plan or a strategy, the only thing you're doing is reacting to things that happen, and you're not being proactive. You're going to miss key deadlines, not only from traditional media people, but deadlines from, let's say, a blogger who needs a guest blog post by a certain date. You are going to miss publicity opportunities galore if you don't know when these opportunities are coming down the pike, and you're not going to reach the right people with your message. So before I go and explain the 7 things that your 2017 publicity campaign must include, I want to go over some old school tactics that I still see people using that are wasting time and energy. And the first one, and I see this a lot, is I see people still primarily relying on traditional media, specifically journalists, and you don't want to do that. You can't have a lot of faith that the newspaper you pitch today will be there next week. Newspapers are doing a march to the graveyard, and there's even this website called Newspaper Death Watch, and they keep everybody up to speed on the newspapers that have indeed gone under, and boy, there have been a lot of them since I got out of the business almost 20 years ago. Seeing a lot of people hoping for the silver bullet. They're hoping that if they can only get on Fresh Air, Terry Gross's Fresh Air, or if they can only get on the Today Show, if they can only get a seat on the set of Fox and Friends, they're going to be propelled to fame and fortune. And I can tell you that doesn't happen. If it did, I wouldn't be in business. I know a lot of people who have gotten on all 3 of these shows, and some of them, I even know somebody who was on Oprah, and she never saw as much as a blip on the screen when she was on Oprah's show. So don't only shoot for these really top-tier big media outlets. They're a long shot. They're hard to get into and onto, and they may not do the job for you. And as I said in my newsletter, I think you'd be much better off just pitching, going into some real niche groups online and sharing your content there, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. Another big problem I see, and don't get me wrong, I love press releases, but I see people relying primarily on them to get the word out. And those of you who've been around the PR game, the publicity track, those of you who've been reading my stuff for the last several years, you know that press releases are an important part of a PR campaign from the standpoint of serving as the key document that has the information in it that can pull traffic into your website, and it can give journalists and others who need your information all the information they need in 1 or 2 sheets. However, you are generally not going to get a lot of publicity just by putting a press release out there on the press release distribution sites or at your website. Press releases are to be used as collateral material, as a backup to a customized pitch. Those customized pitches are really important. Next, see a lot of people still trading links. How do I know this? Because I am getting tons and tons of emails from people asking me to trade links with them. Trading links is something we did 20 years ago when we got websites, and we don't do this anymore. Why? Because everybody used to do it, and then it just really meant nothing. Not only were they trading links, they were trading links with websites that had nothing to do with the content of their website. So don't do this. You can actually get penalized in Google. The other big problem I see is I see a lot of people trying to reach a big general audience, especially authors. When I say, tell me who the target market is for your book, I often hear, well, I want everybody to read my book. No, 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 no. If you want everybody to read your book, you've got to market to everybody, and that is impossible. And if you even try to do that, you're going to become so frustrated. So don't try to reach a big general audience. You've got to break it down. You've got to focus. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in the first of 7 things that you must have in place in order to create a publicity strategy. And that first thing is you need to identify, find, and penetrate your target market. Last year, I believe this was one of the 7 things, but it only said find and penetrate your target market. I added identify to it. I was at an author's the convention, a conference over the weekend, and did a lot of one-on-one consulting with the authors who were there, and most of them had a really hard time identifying the target market for their books. And I'm seeing even people who offer services, even sometimes consulting services, or they'll sell products from a retail store. They find it hard to identify their target market. And so let's go through exactly how you do that and a couple of things that you need to look out for. First, it's okay to serve a general audience, but you better have a narrow topic or a product that has a narrow need, or a service that has a very narrow or specific need for a general audience. Let's say that you help people get rid of arthritis in their back. You sell arthritis cream that especially works on lower backs. There are a lot of people in the general audience out there who have lower back pain. But your product is very specific and solves a specific problem for a whole bunch of people. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to have a very general topic for a narrow audience. Let's say that you are teaching, let's say you're a consultant and you're teaching profitable, a way to good office practices and best practices for a small business, specifically for chiropractors in the Chicago area. Small business building skills, that's sort of a general topic, but if you're only serving local chiropractors in Chicago, that's a really narrow audience, so you can approach this one of 2 ways. The smaller the target, the easier it is for you to promote. That's why you want to hone in and be as specific as possible when you identify your target market. So let me show you how to do it. First thing you do, get a yellow notebook. I find it easier to do it this way than to do it online. I don't care how you do it. Open up a Word document or whatever you want to do. And you want to have 2 columns. Okay, put a line right down the middle. And on the left-hand side, you're going to put demographics. And on the right-hand side, you're going to put passions. On the left-hand side, You are going to identify your target market according to who these people are. You're going to be very specific. In a minute, I'm going to give you a list of questions for each of the two columns. Once you've identified exactly who these people are, you're then going to identify their passions and what it is that they care about. So let's do the first column first. On the left-hand side, we're going to be looking at demographics. And you're going to be asking yourself, and there are a whole bunch of different questions you can ask. These are the top 10 I ask when somebody buys consulting time with me and we try to figure out where their target market is. Sometimes they're not quite sure. They think they know what it is, but they're a little bit fuzzy around the edges. And if that's you, that's okay. Some of these questions will help you really hone in. So let's go through the questions. Number one, how old are they? Can you give me an age range? Where do they live? Do they live within a 50-mile radius of Seattle? Do they live only in Australia and New Zealand? Be very specific. Do they live perhaps in 5 major cities in the United States, and primarily only 5? What are their job titles? Be specific as possible, especially if you're on LinkedIn. This is really going to help you. How much money do they make? And you can give a range. Okay, Publicity Hounds, put on your thinking caps. I want to ask you this. Why is it important for you to know how much money, approximately, your target audience makes? If you think you know the answer, or take a guess, type it into the Q&A box. I want to see how smart my Publicity Hounds are tonight. Why do you think it's important to know about how much money the people in your target market makes? Any guesses? Yep, somebody got it. Anybody else? Any guesses? Take a guess. Nobody wants to guess. Okay, Flora guessed it correctly. Can they afford my services? Can they afford my services? If they can't afford your services, you're probably not going to spend a whole lot of time marketing to them. Number 5, what's their political affiliation? Red state, blue state, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, none of the above, somewhere in the middle, Green Party, whatever. Knowing their political affiliation might help you if you have a product or a service that would more apt to be purchased by people in one of those political parties. What's their sexual orientation? Now, this might not have anything to do with what you sell, but it just might, depending on the products or the services that you offer. What's their marital status? Do they have kids? If so, what are the ages of the kids? Do they have pets? If so, what kinds of pets? Boy, the pet industry is huge, and those people spend a ton of money. Finally, what's their religious preference? Do you know their religious preference? This might not be important. Some of these things might not be important to you, but the more you can ask these questions and find out the information, the more you're going to know what kinds of people you ought to be going after. So now we've got, hopefully, the first column filled. And again, I want this yellow piece of paper to be fluid. I want your target market to, maybe you can occasionally scratch things off of it if you think you're going down the wrong path, or you can add more things to it. This will help you decide exactly what kinds of people you need to be going after according to demographics. So you've now got the first column filled in. Let's go to the second column, the top 10 questions about their passions and their problems. What are their hobbies and their interests? Do they like to crochet with 100% wool yarn only? If so, there are a lot of discussion forums online, and there are entire Facebook groups probably devoted to this. What causes or issues are they passionate about? Or what causes or issues are they having a problem promoting? Now, don't only think major causes or issues like the controversial ones, abortion, gun control, legalization of marijuana, things like that. Think statewide issues or local issues. If you're doing business locally, it might help to know what those people feel strongly about. What's their lifestyle like? What kind of homes do they live in? Do they even live in homes? I heard on a radio show yesterday that a lot of the millennials, they don't want to own homes. They don't want to have to worry about what kind of fertilizer is best to put on their lawn. They want to rent, and they don't want to rent in the suburbs. They want to rent in metropolitan areas, preferably downtown, where they can walk to the bars and the restaurants and venues where there are fun things to do. They don't even care if they don't own cars, many of them. They'll use Uber. What kind of clothing does your target market wear? This might be important. What do they read? And this isn't only for authors. It's for anybody, because there are some definite places online, and you can guess one of them right off the bat. Where do people who read hang out? Where's one site where they hang out? People who read, everybody should know this one. Yep, Gail got it. People who buy books, where do they hang out? They hang out on Amazon, and there are ways on Amazon that you can track down people in your target market. What are their favorite online and offline media? This is a question to ask people in your target market if you're not sure. Every time you get a new consulting client or every time somebody buys a product, tell them you'll give them, I do this sometimes, I'll give them a $10 coupon if they answer a couple of questions for me. How did you find out about me? What groups are you in on LinkedIn? What newspapers do you subscribe to? What other publicity people do you follow? And people are thrilled to get a $10 coupon from me. What are their biggest fears? What are their biggest fears? You want to know what their biggest fears are? Go into some of the LinkedIn groups and the Facebook groups that they're in. They're all talking about their fears in there. Not so much their personal fears, but their business fears. And sometimes their personal fears. You know, they just can't take off 30 pounds. They're really fretting, you know, because they've got a relative who's, you know, who's a druggie, and they don't know what to do. What are their biggest frustrations? What are their dreams? They often talk about their dreams on these sites, especially Facebook. What keeps them up at 3 a.m. that you might be able to help them with? What do they need? Especially, what do they need that you can offer? We have now filled in the right-hand part of that yellow piece of paper. And by looking at the left-hand side, the demographics, and the right-hand side, I would challenge you to try to come up with what's called a customer profile, or if you're an author, it's called a reader persona. You want to try to define them as clearly as you can. And I want to show you what this is what mine looks like. Authors, speakers, experts, business owners, and nonprofits that want to self-promote on a shoestring budget. Also, PR pros, publicists, and marketers who need advice on how to get publicity for their clients. They live primarily in the U.S., Canada, and Australia. Age range is 30 to 70. 7 out of 10 customers are women. This is my buyer persona. Why is it important for me to know that 7 out of 10 of my customers are women. What can I do with this information? How does this help me? Take a crack at it. We don't have a lot of people guessing. But if you were me and you knew that 7 out of 10 customers, let's say you're you, and you knew that 7 out of 10 of your customers are women, what would you do with that when you're trying to map out next year's publicity campaign? Any guesses? Jerica says copywriting. Oh, Jerica, that was one that I have never even thought about. Yes, you can write copy in such a way so that it would appeal to women, and I'm not quite sure, I can't think of any examples right now on how to do that, but that's a really good point. You also say niche down. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Flora says you can focus on the women's perspective on your business. Yes, and here are a couple other things that I can do. The statistics that I last saw on Pinterest were something like at least 70% of the people on Pinterest were women. And not only are they women, a lot of them are women who have their credit card in their hands. They're buyers on Pinterest. So I want to be over there. And I actually have an entire Pinterest board that gets really good traffic, and it ranks very high on Google. And I don't have it here in this slideshow, but if you're looking for it, you can just do a Google search for 50. It's called 50 Tips for Free Publicity. Don't do it now. I want you to pay attention here, but when you're offline, just do 50 Tips for Free Publicity, and you'll see how I do a Pinterest board filled with, they're just tiny little simple PowerPoint slides. They don't look pretty, but they're very helpful. The other way that this helps me is I would be more inclined to accept speaking engagements from women's groups instead of men's groups. Now I know, because I'm a public speaker and a professional speaker, that men's groups are really hard to present to, especially if you're a woman. Women's groups are much easier. Women laugh more, they want to have fun, they do crazy things, and I've always had a lot of fun with women's groups. Men's groups, that's a much harder sell. So know whether your buyers are primarily men or women. Maybe they're 50-50, okay? So maybe that demographic factor doesn't affect your target audience that much and doesn't affect how you're going to go forward with publicity. But and I see this all the time. I work with people who their target market is 90% of them will be women, and they are bound and determined to go after the 10% of their target market that is male. And I tell them, don't do that. Don't waste your time. Let that 10% just sort of find you. Concentrate on the 90% of your target market who are in women's Facebook groups. They're in women's LinkedIn groups. They are in women's discussion boards. They're mommy bloggers. And they're all over the place, and they're so easy to find online. Once you have identified your target market and created a customer profile, the next thing to do is now go find them. Okay, well, how are you supposed to find them? You know what? This is really easy. Once you know some sites where to find them, there are hundreds, probably thousands of places you can look for them, and I'm going to tick off some of the major ones. Facebook groups. Practically the whole world is on Facebook, and there are tons of groups. There are also LinkedIn groups for those of you who are going after a business audience. You authors, you should be on Goodreads. They have thousands of special interest groups where your target market hangs out. I didn't know this until I went hunting around on Goodreads, and I'm not a Harry Potter fan, but just for the heck of it, I clicked on Harry Potter. I wanted to see how many Goodreads groups there were. I was astonished when I saw that there are entire discussion groups on Goodreads that are devoted to only one Harry Potter character, just one. Just one. Entire discussion groups. Sometimes there'll be 12 different discussion groups devoted to the same character. And if you can identify the type of book, the types of people in these groups that are most apt to read your book, that's where you ought to be hanging out. Your target market is on Amazon. What are they doing over there? They're not only selling products, many of them are reviewing products and they're reviewing books. They're on meetup.com. Meetup, if you're not familiar with it, it's an online site where you can go to find people who meet offline. You're not going to carry on a lot. They do have, I think, chat functions and things like that on Meetup where you can talk to people who are in the group that you're going to be going to see in person, but primarily all the meeting is done offline. And I was on Meetup once looking for something, and this site is great. It's like following a trail of breadcrumbs in the forest. You just keep going deeper into the forest because a meetup group will have other related meetup groups that people in the group that you want to meet are also in, and it's sometimes I will find myself, 1 o'clock in the morning, I'm still in Meetup, following this trail of breadcrumbs, and it's a really cool site if you're not familiar with it. Also, there is the iTunes Podcast Directory, which is huge. Your target market is listening to podcasts in extremely narrow niches and devoted to very narrow topics. Podcasters, by the way, many of them have loyal audiences that would walk to the ends of the earth to follow them. And the reason is because their topics are so narrow that nobody else is covering the topic in the depth that some of these podcasters do. So if you come over here and if you click on any one of these, if you click on under arts, design, or if you click on food, or you come over here under health and click on alternative health, each one of these will open and they will give you more subcategories so you can continue to drill down. Now let me give you a great tip about how to find podcasters. Actually, I'm going to save that to the end because that's the last thing. That's the last thing on this slide, and I'm almost there, so just stick with me. Another great place is on Twitter lists, and I did a webinar, a paid webinar on Twitter lists several years ago, and I think I'm going to come back and do another one because Twitter lists are a fabulous way to really drill down and not only reach people in your target market who you want to sell to, but reach people in your target market who are influencers, who are big cheeses in your niche and who can help you and whose contact you can share. And the creators of these Twitter lists have done all the hard work for you. So if you want to learn how to use these, just do a Google search for how to use Twitter lists. If you want to wait for my webinar to come down the pike, you can do that as well. Google Plus communities are another place where you can find people who are devoted to specific types of discussions. And let's go back to the podcast directory for a second. If you're looking for anything and you find these podcasts are really overwhelming, you don't want to have to call up everyone to see what they cover and which ones are the best ones, I'm going to recommend you use the best search tool on the planet, which is Google, and that you simply go to Google and type in best dog breeding podcasts, top 10 podcasts for chiropractors, best podcasts for physical fitness for people with disabilities. Somebody somewhere has curated that content, and it's probably a blogger, and they have a list of the best podcasts, podcast shows, and that's a nice shortcut that I use all the time. You can even do it for blogs. Top bloggers for women who want natural childbirth. That's a quick way to find them. Media people are also in your target market, even though I told you not to rely only on traditional journalists. I'm going to give you a couple of free media directories and a couple of other sources that I would like you to check out. If you can, you don't need those big, fancy, super expensive media directories that cost $2,000. Those are mostly for people who work in big PR firms or for publicists who are constantly pitching, and that's not you. So rely on a couple of these sources. I love this one. It's usnpl.com. It's a great free site for newspapers, TV stations, radio stations, college TV stations, college radio stations, and you can search by state. What I love about this site is media outlets can go onto usnpl.com and they can register their contact information and give you instructions on how to pitch them, whatever, right at this site. It's really cool. One of my, Michelle Tennant from Wasabi Publicity told me about it, and I think it's just a fabulous site that a lot of people don't know about. A great site for magazines is onlinenewspapers.com/magazines. There are thousands of them, and they have links directly back to the magazines. We have a question here from Jerica. Says, do you pitch them there at usnpl.com? It depends, Jerica. Sometimes they will have links back to their website where you can, you click on the link and it'll maybe open up a little window where you can pitch right there, or it'll send them to a page at their website for pitching directions. That's usually going to be only the bigger media outlets that do that. The smaller ones aren't sophisticated enough to even think of that idea, quite frankly. More sources. For electronic newsletters, try bestezines.com, and it's not pronounced ezines. It's pronounced e-zines, and it's short for electronic magazines. Also, I shared this in my newsletter. There's a really cool app for finding influencers and other people who have shared content that you would want to know about so that you can either pitch these people or you can follow them on the social sites. It's called newstip.com. And this is what it looks like. You go over there and you type in this window up here, your topic. So I typed in dogs because, as you all know, I'm a dog person. And it brings up this long list of, look at this, hearing dogs for deaf people. Now, if deaf people are in my target market, I may want to check out this website right here, okay? Here's another one, official Twitter of the Desiree News. I have no idea what that means. Couple collected money for puppies but never delivered dogs, police say. That's probably not one. But what it does is it searches billions of tweets by keyword, and it searches for journalists and other people who are sharing content. And it's a wonderful place. I shared this in my newsletter, and I heard back from one of my readers who said, this is the coolest tip that I have seen all year long. Thank you for sharing it. There's a free version as well as a paid version, so go check it out, anewstip.com. Here's another one that I shared in my newsletter. It's an app called the UPitch app at upitchapp.com, and it lets you upload short, concise pitches and news announcements using their pitching template, and it allows you to connect with journalists who are interested in covering your particular topic. For journalists, they can use this to anonymously swipe through your concise story pitches and news announcements really quickly and find ones that are appropriate to the topics that they cover. And it works just like Tinder works, and I'm not on Tinder, so I can't remember if you swipe to the left if you like it, or if you swipe to the right to kick them out. I don't know, but it works just like Tinder. And both the journalist, here's what's cool, both the journalist and the person pitching can now communicate via the live in-app messenger right in this app. As of March this year, there were more than 1,000 journalists using this, and I haven't seen any updated figure, so I don't know how many journalists are on here. I would go on here with your phone and check it out. Try to see who's on here, and if it's a journalist who happens to have readers, viewers, listeners, followers who are in your target market, that's somebody who you might want to consider pitching. Remember, keep that pitch short. Okay? I spent a lot of time on this first one because it's one that gets a lot of people really tripped up. And I'm going to go through the rest of them pretty quickly. The second one is create top quality content. There are all kinds of content. There are articles, blog posts, videos, audio, infographics, pop quotes. Everybody loves those pop quotes. Pinterest boards, quizzes. Quizzes are great for getting your readers engaged with you and giving them something interactive. Lists, testimonials, book and product reviews. You should be reviewing books and products. This is content. Okay, put on your thinking caps. I got a question for you. How can it help you if you review books or products? How can writing a review help you? Or doing a video review over at YouTube? How can it help? Why is this important to your publicity campaign? Okay, Melissa says it can bring your target audience directly to you. How so, Melissa? Corrine says people are searching for that content and can find you and what you're selling. Well, they would find you for what you're reviewing, okay, if you're reviewing a book. Gail says you can put in your URL to get them to your website or blog. In some cases you can, yeah. All they have to do is Google your name. Or if you're an author and you're over on Amazon and you're reviewing somebody else's book, they can go see if you have an Amazon Author Central profile, if you have an Author Central page. So if you're on Amazon and you're selling books, you need to have an Author Central page. The big advantage is that by having an Author Central page, Amazon gives you a phone number that you can call if you run into problems. And trust me, it's well worth it. When you call them or click on it, the phone rings within seconds and there's somebody on the line. It is really slick. So put down on your to-do list, Amazon Author Central page if you don't have one and if you sell books. People love checklists and cheat sheets. They love them. Photos and graphics, all different kinds. And I don't have this specific tool in this presentation because I think most of you know about it. You know about Canva, canva.com, Canva. It is the best free tool that will help you create beautiful graphics, even if you don't have a stitch of artistic talent in your genes like me. I am not artsy-fartsy at all. Newsletters or email tips. So few of you are emailing, and that makes me cry. Email is the #1 most profitable marketing tool for almost everyone. Polls and surveys. Get people involved and report on the results. Contests. Okay? So, how do you find content ideas? One way to do it is through a really cool site called portent.com, and I want to show you how it works. I've got it queued up here, and let's see how I can bring this down here. We go under Tools. Okay, and you're going to come down and you're going to click on the Portent Content Idea Generator, and here's how it works. Okay, I'm going to enter a subject. Somebody give me a noun for something that you sell, so I can demonstrate how this works. Jeans, like as in denim jeans, Corrine? Is that what you mean? Okay, denim jeans. Watch. Click the arrow, watch what happens. What Wikipedia can't tell you about denim jeans. You don't like it? Click the arrow again. How denim jeans once saved the world. You don't like it? Click again. Why you'll never succeed at denim jeans. How denim jeans can help you live a better life. And on and on and on and on. You can just keep clicking and keep clicking and keep clicking. Very cool. Here's another one. Most of you probably know about it. At least you do if you've been following me, because I'm talking about this all the time. It's called the Tweak Your Biz Title Generator at tweakyourbiz.com/. I just Google this every single time because I can never remember the URL. Just make sure you spell tweak correctly, and here's how it works. Okay, Flora wants me to type in writing memoirs. Okay, then it asks you, is this a noun or is it a verb? And you click on verb. Then click submit and watch what happens. Yowza! Look at all these headlines. Take a minute to read them. Look at this. There's a whole how-to section. There's a whole celebrity section. Justin Bieber you might want to try write memoirs. Sometimes you have to change the wording just a little bit. There are business headlines, there are motivation headlines, there are ING headlines. They just added this one in the last couple months. I love this site. These are all what's called formula headlines, and many of these headlines are on the covers of magazines. And copywriters steal these headlines from each other, and they're little formulas, okay? Mine might be over here, publicize your business and get rich, instead of Flora's writing memoirs. So you can have a lot of fun with this. If you haven't been blogging in a while and you need a blog post idea, come on over here, pop a noun or a verb in that window, and you are off to the races. It's very cool. Here's another wonderful tool for making animated videos. I shared this one in my newsletter as well. If you don't like getting gussied up and having to do a lot of talking head videos for YouTube, you can use this really cool tool called Powtoon, P-O-W-T-O-O-N, and make animated videos. It's all drag and drop. They have different pieces of like little clip art for this guy with the blue necktie. They have, these words, you will type the words in, and it's very cool. I created a video for my YouTube channel that I shared several weeks ago within about 30 minutes. These are all also great if you want to explain something. You can create an explainer video. You can create an explainer video for your YouTube channel as your what's it called, the I think it's called the trailer, that main video that new people see when they land on your YouTube channel for the first time. You can create a little video using Powtoon explaining what your YouTube channel's about, if you don't want to have to get dressed up and put on makeup and do your hair and all that stuff. Powtoon is a great alternative. I certainly wouldn't use it all the time, but it's great if you're in a hurry. Here's another one. Infographics. Big companies spend a lot of money hiring advertising agencies and big PR firms to do these for them, but you don't need to, because HubSpot is giving away, I think there are 15 free infographic templates, and I changed it into a tiny URL for you. I would encourage you to go here, write this down now, and go here as soon as you are done watching this video, because HubSpot will only offer these downloads for a couple of months, and then they stop offering them, and then they offer something new, and the only way to have access to them is sometimes get a subscription to HubSpot. They are the inbound marketing experts. It's a wonderful company, and they are the masters at creating content to pull in traffic to a website, but they're a little bit pricey for some of our budgets. I turned it into a tiny URL for you, tinyurl.com, HubSpot infographics, all lowercase. Another cool tool, this is for creating audio, is called SoundCloud. And SoundCloud has both a free and a subscription service. And this is great if all you want to create is audio. Let's say you want to do a quick audio interview with somebody. You can use SoundCloud to do it. And let's say you're writing a blog post. It will let you insert the audio right into the blog post. It's very cool. So you can go over there and play around with it. And you can also have a channel on SoundCloud, and people can come over to your SoundCloud channel and check out some of the audio that you've done. Are you guys sick and tired of paying a lot of money for infographics? Is anybody sick and tired of infographics, and the ones you see, they're all really cheesy? Anybody tired? Corinne wants to know, is Powtoon free? Yes, Powtoon is free if you want to put up with the little branding at the end, and I think there might be a limit on how long your video can be. I would go over to the Powtoon site and look around for some of the ways. They have some really good examples of how realtors have used Powtoon in their business, and they're really slick, and those are the paid accounts. But I wouldn't pay for anything right off the bat. Always try the free version, and if you find you really like it and it suits what you're trying to do and you want to get upgraded, then pay for it, but don't start out with a paid subscription. Back to paid stock photos. I've spent way more money than I should have on them until I found a couple of two really wonderful free stock photo sites. This one up at the top, Pixabay, at pixabay.com, P-I-X-A-B-A-Y, is probably the best free stock photo site. They have photos, they have vectors, the vectors are the little things that I put in my newsletter that you see frequently. They're real colorful. I love vectors because they're really eye-popping. They have art illustrations. Most of it is free. If you can't find what you're looking for, you might have to buy a stock photo. This one down on the bottom, Gratisography, I love. It's got some really bizarre photos. This one that you see here is perfect for putting a quote on and sharing on the social sites. So go on over to pixabay.com and gratisography.com. Number 3, okay, I have just shown you some really cool tools. Number 3, I want you to create your own media outlets and cross-promote. You can have your own TV show, your own TV channel on YouTube, your own YouTube channel with your own shows. You can have your own radio show as a podcaster. You can use Periscope to record your own show, and you can also use Facebook Live, which is not on this site, to have your own show. And of course, you can also have your own newsletter, your own little magazine. Here's a vector right down here. And this is my newsletter, the Publicity Hounds Tips of the Week, which I hope most of you subscribe to. If you don't subscribe, go to publicityhound.com, and there's a little box in the upper left-hand corner of my site that you can subscribe. And this is my number 1 most profitable marketing tool. I share fabulous content through this newsletter, and you can do the same thing I do. Yours doesn't have to be as long as mine is. I don't care if yours is just one tip. Look at these links I have on the side here. I've got a link to my social media accounts. I also have a couple other things in the newsletter that I'll talk about in a minute that are really cool. So if you don't have a newsletter, consider it. Consider it. It's your own media outlet. Also, cross-promote from the various media outlets that you have created. This is one of the things I don't do so well, and this is on my to-do list to start doing immediately, because you always forget about this stuff. So here's what I mean. Link to your Amazon page from your blog and your website, and you saw my Amazon link there in my newsletter, and I linked to my Amazon Author Central page, or I can't even remember what I linked to on Amazon. It's something. If you've posted a YouTube video, write a blog post about it. And you can insert the video, right? You can just use the YouTube and the little snippet of coding right from YouTube and have that YouTube video watchable right in your blog post. Why am I not doing this? I've got all kinds of videos over on YouTube. I need to do this more often. Link from your YouTube descriptions to your blog, to specific blog posts. You can link to Amazon. You can link to Facebook, to Twitter, to Pinterest, to anything. Use those YouTube descriptions. YouTube gives you, I believe, it's 5,000 characters. That's a long description, and it's the equivalent of about a 900-word article. That's a lot of copy, and what can you fit in those descriptions other than links? Put on your thinking caps. Think who owns YouTube. Google owns YouTube. What's Google going to be looking for in your video descriptions? Any guesses? Oh, you guys are good. Very good. Flora, Corrine, and Sheila all guessed it correctly. Keywords. Search engine optimization. Put keywords in your YouTube video description. Some of mine, if I'm in a big hurry, I'll just dash off a sentence or two, but I need to go back and flesh those out with descriptions that will help bring in traffic to those videos. Publish your blog post to your LinkedIn profile. And then also within that post, put the original link back to the original blog post. And there have been studies done that shows there are no duplicate content problems with this. I've been really leery about this when I started publishing to my LinkedIn profile. I didn't do this, but I'm going to start doing it now because I'm seeing more and more people writing that there are no duplicate content problems as far as Google is concerned. Just be sure to link back to the original blog post. I hope you're using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great site to find. Whoops, that was Siri. I pressed the button on my iPhone to see what time it was, and Siri came on board. Sorry, Siri, I'm in the middle of a webinar. All right, number 4. Make your content easy to find and share on the social sites. And there are a couple of things that if you do these things, you'll be in great shape. First of all, use hashtags. If you all know, I hope, what hashtags are, they're a search, a way to put this little hashtag or pound sign or tic-tac-toe sign in front of keywords because people are searching using hashtags, and it makes your content findable. Tag an influencer or someone whose content you're sharing. I think you all know how to tag. If you don't know how to tag, just do a Google search for it and you'll find more than you could ever want to know. Use share buttons everywhere. For years, I never had share buttons in my newsletter. And about, I don't know how long ago, maybe 2 years ago, one of my readers emailed me and she said, "You got such great tips in your newsletter and I want to share them on the social sites, but there aren't any share buttons. Can you please get share buttons?" Lo and behold, I use Aweber for my newsletter. I didn't know until I called Aweber that they've got the share button thingamajig that I can use in every item, not only in every newsletter, in every item in every newsletter, so that if they only like item number 3, they can share it. So use share buttons. I've got to get these on my blog as well. And finally, use a link shortener. I see a lot of these long links still on Twitter, and people are not going to be encouraged to share your content. So do these 4 things to make your content easy to find and share on the social sites. Okay, moving along, number 5. Create a website for your visitors, not for you. I'm seeing websites with these big, clunky, eye candy photos that take up 3/4 of the page at the top of the website. I have no idea what the website's about. The only way to find out is to scroll down. Don't make visitors scroll. If they don't know what your website's about, they're out and they are gone. They're at somebody else's site. I'm also seeing sole proprietors not using their own headshot on their homepage. Why would you not use your own headshot? You need to be promoting your expertise. And you're a star. You want to be a star in your field, in your niche, or niche, as they say in Canada. And you want your photo everywhere, so put it out there on your homepage. Don't force visitors to log in to use your site, or they are out of there, unless, of course, it's a membership site. Then you can force them to log in and pay before they can use it. I want to see complete contact information on every page of your website. If for some reason you can't put it on every page, at the very least, put it on the home page in an easy-to-find location. Right down at the bottom is a great place. I want to see a shipping address in case people want to send you a check, because not everybody buys online. I want to see an email address, and I want to see a telephone number. If you don't want it to ring through to your office, use Google Voice. If you don't want people to stalk you by putting your home address in, use a P.O. box. It's like $80 a year. If you don't want all this stuff coming into your email box, get a secondary email address, but make sure you check it regularly. Also, let one of your customers test drive your site before it goes live. If you've got a new website, or your webmaster is doing a redesign on your site, or he's changing some things around, give it to somebody who's in your target market, maybe who's never been to your site before. Let them test drive it. Because sometimes the webmasters are even too close to their work to see what doesn't click in the mind of your ideal buyer. Before we go on to number 5, your site, this is really important. It must look good and it must respond well on mobile. Sites that are not mobile friendly are not getting good search ranking on Google. Google wants sites that people can access from a mobile phone or from tablets. So go see what yours looks like on your mobile phone and check it out on a tablet as well. How easy is it for you to order things from your site? Go press the navigational buttons and see how difficult it is, and then get in touch with your web designer and have him or her fix it. Number 6, start an email list of fans and start mailing. I can't stress this enough. All your fans are in one place on an email list. If you're launching a product or a book and it comes to launch day and you don't have an email list, you've got to go hunt these people down on all the social media sites, which you should be doing anyway, but an email list makes it so much easier. You own your email list. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't own it, and Meetup.com doesn't own it. At the authors conference I was at over the weekend, I was talking about email marketing, and somebody raised their hand and said on Meetup, they no longer let you write about or have, I think, romance-related meetups. And she had, I think, 3,000 people in her meetup group, and she had all their email addresses, and somehow she got it either closed down or something, and she lost all those people. And the reason is because she doesn't own Meetup. Meetup owns Meetup. Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook. You own your email list, and nobody can take it away from you. So if you aren't marketing with email, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. Number 3, mail good content consistently. Don't wait until you have 200 people on your email list. Start mailing as soon as you get one person on your list. Because if you wait until you have 200 people, that could be 3 months from now. And within those 3 months, some of the people on your list could be changing their email address. And because you're not mailing to them, they're not going to remember that they even signed up for your list. And they're not going to tell you that they've changed their email address. And when you go to finally mail, their email is going to bounce, and you don't want that. So start right away. Create a relationship with your fans. The relationship is so important before you start to sell anything. I try to create a relationship with my fans by sharing little personal items with you twice a week, and this weekend and this weekend in the Hound House. And I get probably more feedback on that than anything. If you're an author and you want to start to email, I recommend my Author Email Bootcamp. It is a 6-part video course that will walk you step by step through the entire process of how to send email to your ideal fans and how to turn those fans into superfans. Finally, number 7, repurpose your content in multiple formats. This is something else I need to pay more attention to. You don't always have to start from scratch. If you write a blog post or an article, you can publish it to your LinkedIn profile. Okay, we already talked about that. You can turn it into an audio recording and insert that audio into the blog post and share it, or go share that link to the link to the recording over on one of the social sites. Turn it into 3 2-minute videos for YouTube. Pull 6 tips from it and turn them into 6 pretty quotes for Pinterest and share on the social sites. Share your content in various forms in an email newsletter. I have to force myself to think of this, and one of the things that's on my to-do list for next year is to create a checklist that I should probably share, and this would be a blog post, a checklist of all the different formats that I need to keep in mind when I create, let's say, an article. And some of this stuff I can shovel over to my assistant. There's no reason why she can't create the pretty quotes and get those on my Pinterest board. Let's review the 7 things I talked about. Number 1, identify, find, and penetrate your target market. Number 2, create top quality content. Number 3, create your own media outlets and cross-promote them. Number 4, make your content easy to find and share on the social sites. Number 5, create a website for your visitors, not for you or for your webmaster. Number 6, start an email list of fans and start mailing. And number 7, repurpose your content in multiple formats. This is a lot to present to you in 1 hour, and it's probably like drinking from a fire hose, because a lot of this might be new to some of you, and I want to encourage you to let me help you. That's me. I am on a webinar. I'm on a GoToMeeting actually with one of my consulting clients. I have my little earphones and my microphone hooked up, and when we do one-on-one sessions, we use GoToMeeting so that you can see my screen, and I will help you identify, find, and penetrate your target market. This is really difficult for a lot of people. It's probably the number 1 problem I see. I will explain to you which media outlet I think you need to create first based on who your target market is. I will tell you what not to do at all, what I wouldn't bother with if I were you, because I think it's a waste of time. I will tell you the exact kind of content that I think you should create. And I will critique your content. I will also let you work with me to create your strategy. These are all things that we can do when you rent my brain. This Rent My Brain box is in the margin of all of my newsletters. It's also, I believe, on every page of my website. To rent my brain, you can buy 1 hour of my consulting time, and I charge $300 an hour, and will let you work with me on whatever you want to know. I will also give you a coupon good for $100 off any of my training tools, along with a recommendation on which ones I think you need. If you buy an hour of my consulting time, I don't want to give you the coupon until we are done, because I might have training materials at my website that you're not aware of that can save us valuable time in the consulting session. For example, let's say you need help pitching. I might say to you, you know what? If I were you, I would use your $100 coupon for one of my pitching products. Let's save some time and talk about some more important things, some real strategies instead of the tactics. This is going to save you a lot of grief. And this is a valuable coupon because I can give you 2 $50 training sessions that'll help you really drill down and do what you're trying to accomplish. Our time on the phone together is 60 full minutes for $300. Any research time on my end that I'm doing a day or two before we get together, that's all done on my watch. I don't charge you for that time, and a lot of people say, oh, $300 an hour, that's so much money. What you don't know is that in the background, usually a day or two before, I'm spending a lot of time. I'm critiquing your website. I want to see your social media sites, that even though you might not want me to critique your site, I'm going to look at it anyway because it's that important. Your investment is $300, and because you get a coupon worth $100, the value of this is $400. But you must book your consulting session with me by November 1st of this year to get the $100 coupon. Now, you don't have to schedule it before November 1st. You simply need to book it by November 1st. And the way it works is you are going to go over to publicityhun.com and you're going to click on this Let's Get Started, and it's going to take you over to a page that's going to explain how the Rent My Brain thing works, okay? And you are going to sign up and you're going to prepay. You've got to prepay for it. You can either use a credit card or you can use PayPal. That's fine. And as soon as you're done ordering, you are going to get an email thanking you for your order, and it's going to be asking you a couple of questions about what it is that you want to accomplish with me, and you're going to send those answers back to me as soon as you can, because I need to know what you want so I know where to research online. Let's say you've got a target market that I'm really unfamiliar with and you don't know where to go to find it. I'm not going to search for that while we're in our GoToMeeting. I don't want to do that. Give me some time to help you. And again, the research time is not on your watch. It's on my watch, and you're not paying for the research time. We're going to be on the phone for 1 hour. So here's where you want to go to Rent My Brain. I do a lot of these. I do a lot of these consulting sessions. And if you have been considering joining my mentor program, but it's out of reach for you financially, or you don't think you're ready for that yet, this is a really good alternative because you can get a feel for how we're going to work together. Okay, Flora has done her job. She's reminding me to tell you about a special tool that I think is really cool. Now, again, you might know about this, but when I was at an authors conference over the weekend, I don't know of anybody in the audience who said they knew about this, except Daniel Hall, who was the presenter, and Amy Collins, whose Facebook page he used as an example. So here's a cool thing you can do on Facebook. Did you know that you can replace your Facebook profile photo right here with a 7-second video? Did you know that? How many of you knew this? I didn't know this. Most of the people in the audience didn't know it either. How cool is that? I'm going to caution you about something. I would really not want to see this little 7-second video that you create with your smartphone be overtly promotional. Okay? Why? Put on your thinking caps. Why do I not want to see you overtly promote anything in here? Why? I talked about it tonight. Take a guess. It's Facebook. Why do I not want to see you overtly promote? I've seen a couple of videos where, and if you go online and just do a Google search for, and just keep your eyes open on Facebook, because now that a lot of people know about this, I still think a lot of people don't know about this because I haven't seen any of these on Facebook. But as it becomes more and more popular, I think this little profile square, if used incorrectly, is going to turn into a big free commercial for a lot of people. Remember, you don't own Facebook. They can close your account down in a second. And Flora said it turns people off. Nancy said you want to build relationships. That's correct. Corrine says it's a turnoff for potential customers. You need to establish a relationship first before you sell. Absolutely. There's a great little, I think it's a minute, yeah, it's like a 1-minute, 4-second video right here. And I've turned it into a tiny URL for you, so you might want to copy this down. tinyurl.com/my Facebook profile video. And the M, the F, the P, and the V are uppercase. So mark this down right now because you want to go over to it to see how cool and easy it is to do right from your phone. Again, be very careful. I would not hold up a sign that says, buy my dog collars. I wouldn't hold up a sign that says, buy my book on Amazon. I wouldn't do that because I don't want, I've had too many emails from people saying, my Facebook fan page disappeared, or Facebook closed down my profile, or I tried to contact Facebook and I lost 3,000 fans. What do I do? Mark Zuckerberg can do whatever he wants to with your Facebook real estate because he owns it. So be very, very careful with this tool, okay? All right. If you are interested in working with me, please book your time before November 1st. Get on my calendar. I am knee-deep in creating a really cool product right now. It's a big one, and I can hardly wait to introduce it to you. And I can't tell you any more about it, and I'm going to be spending the next month or so knee-deep in this, and I've got some consulting slots that are open, so if you want to work with me, book it now or lose your place, and I want you to take advantage also of this $100 coupon. Okay, I want to see, I saw some questions here that I didn't have a chance to answer, so I'm going to go back here. Corinne wants to know, any tips on what to talk about in the 7-minute video, both for personal page and for a business page? I wouldn't give tips in my video. I would just move back and forth. I don't think there is any audio in the video, Corinne. I believe that it is just a video of things moving back and forth. So you could wave, you can make it fun. My web guy, Jason Saylor, gave me a great idea on how to, I would do this because I don't think it would get me in trouble. I have a t-shirt that says the Publicity Hound. I could wear that t-shirt and make sure that the Publicity Hound was nice and big. It's actually my logo on the front of the t-shirt. Make sure that that's prominent in the video, and people might put two and two together and go over and type in thepublicityhound.com if they're looking for my site or something like that. I wouldn't go much farther than that. Again, I could be wrong, but when it comes to other people's social sites, especially a feature that I think could very easily turn into something obnoxious once people start promoting like crazy. I mean, who knows what they're going to do. They might do like, neon lights flashing on and off. Who knows what we're going to see eventually. So just be careful, okay? Okay, let's see what other questions. Flora says, Pixabay, that's the free stock photo site, currently has a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for an app. I didn't know that. Thank you. Any questions? Sheila says, she says, what software do you prefer for quizzes? SurveyMonkey does the job. It's free. There's a free version, and I haven't done quizzes, a lot of them. If you want to do an in-depth survey, I know Jeannie Hurlbert at mysurveyexpert.com has a great business where she will help you create a survey for your business. I have used her, and she's just excellent. mysurveyexpert.com. Any other questions? Somebody wants to know, what's the best site to use to get quotes onto some of the stock photos? I gave you that one example of the guy over on the right-hand side and that big blank space over on the left. I'll tell you what I use, and this is sort of cheating, but it's really easy. I use PowerPoint. I just open my PowerPoint slides and I pop the picture in there, and what I like about it is you can make the picture big or small without losing any of the, without making it look grainy, and it's easier to work with. There's also, what's the monkey site? Help me here. What's the monkey at photo editing site? I want to say SurveyMonkey. It's not SurveyMonkey. It's a photo editing site. Thank you, Penny. It's PicMonkey, PICMONKEY. It's late. PicMonkey.com. Thank you. Yeah, I find PowerPoint super duper duper easy. And you can also do it on Canva. I find Canva clunky just for photos. I can never get it cropped correctly, but it rocks. Darlene says, we've been talking about free publicity. What about paid? Any paid sites you recommend? Facebook, Google Ads, Goodreads? Facebook ads, definitely, but let me give you a huge word of warning. You have got to know what you're doing on Facebook ads, and I would not attempt to do this by myself. I actually bought Facebook ads for several months earlier this year, and I hired a consultant to do it for me because I don't have the patience to understand how the whole thing works, and that's like above my pay grade. So Facebook ads are very effective, and they're great for really drilling down and targeting a niche. Why are Facebook ads? Now think about this. Why is it that Facebook ads are so effective in targeting a niche? The reason is because think of all the information Facebook asks about you when you create your account. They know everything about you. That's why it's so effective. So if you're going to spend money, you can spend money on Facebook ads. Get somebody who knows what they're doing. There are also a lot of training programs out there on how to use Facebook ads. I don't have time to go through the training programs. I would much rather just hire somebody to do it for me. Okay, other questions? Flora says, since I've been with you for years, I've noticed how you've shared personal info along with your business information on your newsletter. Have you seen a difference in your business by doing that? Yes. Thank you for asking the question. I got an accountant, of all people, on my list several months ago because I sell a product for accountants, and I sell it mostly through somebody else's website, somebody who has an email list for accountants, and I think that's actually where she purchased it. She sent me, I think it's the same woman, who sent a donation to the ASPCA a couple of weeks ago when she read in my newsletter that my dear dog Bogey had died. The next day after and she hadn't been with me very long, just a couple of months, she sent a donation in Bogey's name to the ASPCA. I can't tell you how much that touched my heart. I also had another, she was an accountant, yes, she was an accountant down in Florida, and she also owned another business, and she hired me, she bought an hour of my time to help me figure out how to reach two separate target markets because the two businesses were unrelated. And I was talking to her, and she said, you know, I get your newsletter, and I have to tell you that this week in the Hound House, I love all that personal stuff you shared. And she said something that was music to my ears. She said, and I quote, I feel like I already know you. That's what those personal little details do for people. So if you're going to do an email newsletter, share personal details about yourself. I'm a very private person, and it sort of creeped me out when my assistant, Christine Buffalo, suggested I do this. Just felt sort of creepy, but I tried it, and I said to her, she said, you know, tell us a little bit about your personal life. I said, I have a boring personal life. I mean, on the weekends, I do the same thing every weekend. I strip the beds, I do the laundry, I fold the laundry, I cook for the following week, I used to walk the dog, what else do? I garden, I wash the car, I clean my house. There's not much new in my weekends, but I would try to pick little tidbits about something. It might even be a new laundry detergent I found that I like, whatever, something personal. And Jerica says, personal stories rock. Jerica, these aren't even personal stories. They're little personal tidbits about my life. I show you guys what my flowers look like. I've got a great photo out there right now that I need to take before the darn things fall over. They're beautiful blue delphiniums. They bloomed again, and they're gorgeous. They're only 2 or 3 stalks, and I got to go out there and shoot them with my camera. And Flora says, yeah, people want to do business with real people. They sure do. Darlene says, you recommend Pinterest. I know a lot of my target audience is on Pinterest. Any tips for increasing activity there? Do you advertise or simply pin items? I don't advertise at all on Pinterest. I simply pin items. What do you sell, Darlene? Are you the one that sells the denim jeans? Oh, you're an author. Oh, gosh. Do a Google search for how to use Pinterest for authors. You'll find a ton of stuff online on how to use Pinterest to sell your books. I would definitely pin a lot of other people's stuff so they know you. Pin books by other people whose books are in your genre so these people share your content. Create boards around topics devoted to your book. And there's just a ton of stuff online. Flora says, Joan, mention your program on how to create simple Pinterest boards. Thank you, Flora. It is if you go to my shop, so you go to publicityhound.com and click on shop in the navigational button, and there's a little search box up there. If you plug in Pinterest, you will find my program. It's a couple years old, and it's something along the lines of how to create, I can't even remember the name of it, how to create Pinterest boards with content, rich tips or something like that. It'll come up. I think it's $49.95, and it walks you step by step through the entire process of how to do PowerPoint slides for your Pinterest boards. And if you go to Google right now, and I'll show you how this works, go to Google and do a Google search for, just plug free publicity into the Google window, and I will bet you that my Pinterest board called 50 Tips for Free Publicity shows up on the first page of Google. I'm just going to bet it does. And it often beats my own website. So that's it for today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for staying with me. I apologize for going over, but I had questions, and I get these little brainstorms as I'm sharing something with you, and I don't want you to miss it. So this is being recorded. I urge you to please share the recording with the people on your followers, on your social sites, on Facebook, all over the place, and they will thank you. So that's it. Reserve your consulting session to get your free $100 coupon. Do it before November 1st. If there's anything funky or weird about my time trade calendar where you can't book it, just send me an email. Okay? All right, thanks everybody. Go out and let's work on your 2017 publicity plan, and let's knock them dead. Take care. Good night.